The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, is the passport office compromised? It's a legitimate question given the increasing numbers of foreigners being found with Bahamian passports and others with fake documents. Tonight, we get to the bottom of it. SuperValue manipulating prices. Say it ain't so. I mean, because something had to be going on, right? A very telling video to share with you tonight and SuperValue's response. An R&Bailey teacher charged today with indecently assaulting a 15-year-old boy, a student at the school. This is getting major attention tonight as the nation is still angry at the sentencing of the 37-year-old father who sexually molested his twin daughters. And the quiet communities in eastern New Providence interrupted by gunshots yesterday morning as jitney drivers took aim and shot at each other. Can't make this stuff up. We will hear the details of that coming up as well. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, it's no secret identity fraud and theft of all kinds are on the increase here in the Bahamas and elsewhere. But in such a sensitive area such as the passport office, who could be handling the most important document that a Bahamian is given so carelessly or cheaply? The passport office isn't the only area discovered to be involved in fraud recently. So too are the Department of Immigration and the National Insurance Board. Well, joining me this evening is Chief Passport Officer Nicholas Simonet. Good evening to you, Mr. Simonet. Thank you for joining me here on Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening. Good evening, Shanique. Thanks.
As you very well know, Bahamians are very angry, and rightly so, for fake or wrongly issued passports to be turning up in the hands of foreigners, especially when so much is going on and so much is pending deportations from the United States, for example. People are nervous because there are people, who perhaps may have fraudulent Bahamian passports or even real ones, but they are not Bahamian. So Bahamians have been on edge about this passport issue now for quite some time. Can you tell us what's happening? Is it that most of us are thinking, is it somebody in the passport office or perhaps a department who is simply out for a quick buck or simply don't value our sovereignty?
So I wouldn't go that far. These cases that are before the courts are mainly identity theft or document fraud. So we're not the originators of the document. The documents are used to prove entitlement to citizenship. But we do have an element of verification that exists, whether it's with other government entities or whether it's even doing research on foreign documents. We have that responsibility. And I think you would have seen in January where the passport office, along with other government agencies, we had a meeting that was hosted by the Department of Corrections. And we've been having a series of meetings from last July. And those meetings are held more at the technical level, at my level. And we have those meetings, and we have been able to tighten up on our protocols.
Well, let's just talk about, before we even get to what those meetings were, the fact that you have tightened up and you've put new systems and more stringent measures in place. Let's just talk about the documents that are showing up, because obviously they are well done and not easily detected by workers that, listen, these documents are either the result of identity theft or just fraudulent on a whole. How is your department and your officers being trained with an eagle eye to be able to spot that? And have they been able to spot it? Well, obviously not, because it's passed through. And so how are they now moving forward able to spot what people have been getting away with?
So I guess we have to take it back one notch, right? Generally in the Bahamas, we don't have the most consistent documentation. There's a number of persons still amongst us that have never held a passport. some well in their 80s and 90s, and some even younger. So determining those documents that they have to use to bring in is not the easiest thing. Many of those people don't have birth certificates. They have no documentation. So you have to use supplementary documents to prove these persons' identities and their entitlement to citizenship. The cases that we're seeing in terms of identity fraud or document fraud, they are good fraudulent documents, and not just Bahamian documents, because we have Bahamians who are born outside the country. So there's a level of detection, but that detection requires working with our counterparts to be able to tighten up in their areas, and also how we communicate with each other. So you had communication that was lacking between agencies, which we are improving, and that improvement actually allowed us to be able to detect these things, these cases that are before the courts. And let's not think that this is something just happening in the Bahamas. You know, the rise of identity fraud around the world is up by like 18%, and we're not going to be the exception. But what we have a responsibility to do, and we have a mandate, is to ensure that every person holding a passport currently or applying is entitled. And we have cases that aren't considered fraud, but just mistakes, right? Where you have persons where, if you look at it, and if you don't understand what it was entailed to become, to be eligible for citizenship, you would say the person is a Bahamian. But little minute things could be the difference from your child being a Bahamian versus not entitled outright to citizenship. And on a weekly basis, we have to tell persons that, you know, you have to be registered or naturalized. Because, for example, a Bahamian born abroad receive citizenship from their parents, but adopts a child. They adopt a child who was born in the States, right? That child, although the Adoption Act says that it goes to the, well, actually the Adoption Act says it goes to they take the nationality of the adopted parents.
Right.
The Nationality Act says that in joint adoption, it goes to the father. And if the father was born abroad and received citizenship from his parents, and the child is born abroad, the citizenship doesn't confer. So you have little nuances that could mean the difference in being a Bahamian, not a Bahamian.
Well, so moving forward, you've done your audit, and
and that's continuous.
Continuous is not just this one time to identify what this spike is all about.
So we got our audit section is what we would consider, I guess, our investigative section.
Right.
So the passport office has hundreds of files that have been investigated over the years. So the decision that was made, based on our mandate, is that we are not law enforcement, right? So we could investigate and we could determine suspicion of fraud or wrongful doing, but our job there is to turn it over to the police.
Have this been done?
And that's what we've been doing.
It's been done. So it's been done, and those people obviously are being prosecuted. Now
yes.
let's talk about the fact that this investigation has happened. But in particular, your office, the files you talk about, obviously, listen, human beings have tired eyes.
Yep.
And it sounds like a lot of just files in cabinets somewhere sitting. Do you think it's time that the system is regulated and modernized so that you can pick up these things quicker, and the departments can have access to various records from other departments, that they pick things up? Somebody will pick it up.
So we start with ourselves. So our system is, in all fairness, is very modernized, right? And probably one of the better that you'll see on the global stage right now. But there are elements of the system that weren't being utilized, and that's what we're doing. So we talk about these files set in filing cabinets. So we're working on trying to make sure that they're all in the system, not as applicants, but we have the documents in the system, which allows us to be able to detect some of these cases. Because what you would see what we have seen is that, you know, I try today, I'm unsuccessful, but 6-7 years later, they try again and might have been successful, right? And like you say, they're humans. There's about 6 different steps a passport goes through generally within the office. Out of those 6, there are about 5 of the steps that every application, whether you are a renewal or a new applicant, go through as well. And that was designed to ensure that if something was missed before, we'll catch it again, right? And sometimes we don't catch it until we have further information, and it might be from a sibling applying or from the parent applying. That might provide further clarity on another applicant's file. So we have those as well. So we are utilizing the tools that are before us. We will complete our mandate, which is to safeguard the document. We will continue to strengthen our relationships to be able to detect and preventative measures as well. And we will put anything that we find before the police.
Which obviously has been happening, because we saw last week several were charged. We saw on Monday people were charged. Let's talk about the identity theft and how vulnerable Bahamians are,
Yes.
especially some Bahamians in certain parts of the nation. What makes, where are the most vulnerable Bahamians that people, foreigners, can go and somehow look up their identity and assume the identity?
In a few of the cases that we have seen, it appears as that the documents or the perpetrators were known to the persons who would have originally owned the documents. Or, so it's not necessarily somebody just finding a random document. We don't believe that, because you're still required to know intimate details on these persons, right? So it's not as if these are people that just finding a document and say, I'm going to run with this name.
So these are people who are just taking advantage of an opportunity that they found and jumping on it and figuring that they're going to go and take, again, assume the identity of whether it's a family member or whomever it may be that's in their circle and presenting.
And then also you have, it's just documentation as well. So what we have right now is we still have a lot of Bahamians, and I caution Bahamians to put your affairs in order, We have a lot of young Bahamians still walking around with affidavits. We send back newborns, parents with newborns that are still within the legal time frame to register the kids back to the Registrar General's office to get a birth certificate done for them. So affidavits are probably, those are the problems right there.
That's where the loophole, that's where it begins right there. I mean, the person who just has an affidavit and figure that they're good, but they can easily, their identity can be taken by someone else.
Well, the thing is, they could form different elements of an identity through an affidavit, right? So we've seen affidavits that speak to the birth never being registered. And in that same instance, we have seen where a person has been saying by affidavit that their date of birth was X, and then a few years later, an affidavit speaks to not having a birth certificate. A few years later, they come forth with a birth certificate with a different date of birth, right? So back to just tighten up the policies that we do have at our disposal. Building that relationship with the Registrar General office also allows us to help us to understand their processes as well, which allows us now to change the way we look at things, the way we understand things, the reasons we ask for certain things over others. So we did an exercise, and it's ongoing, very ongoing. We've been doing an exercise where before, they used to ask you for every document on the list of documents that you need, right? Regardless if you have a renewal or anything. So now the idea is to get every officer in the passport agency to be able to understand why we ask for what we ask for, so they can know when to ask for it, when not to ask for it, what could be used as a supplementary document to prove the information being provided. So it's ongoing education, internal and external. So we've tried to keep our website updated with information and content. We try to, as best as possible, answer everybody's concern. I spend most of the day just fielding calls and assisting people as well. But we try our best, and these are the reasons why we have to ask for additional documents sometimes.
Are there also like checks that foreigners, for example, would have to go through different departments before getting to the passport, so that helps alleviate any potential and future acts of fraud?
Yeah, so foreign documents all require apostilles, right, to be used in the Bahamas, or it has to go through the process of authentication, which is basically a series of signature verifications from that agency until it reaches here, which can be lengthy, but some countries, that's their process. So it's that. But the world is small.
It is.
Our documentation in country is not perfect. So there are a lot of gaps. So what it means is that we just have to stick to ensuring that we could do our part to weed it out. We have to be vigilant, diligent, and we have to be consistent and transparent. So the passport system records every action that any individual performs on it, every single action. We are audit ready. We provide the police with our audits as well, and we don't come to conclusions, but we do it so that we could rule out any interference inside as well.
And this is the question I want to kind of wrap up with. You can assure the Bahamian people tonight that they need not feel any bit of skepticism about any ring or fraud ring or passport office workers involved in, as I said, somewhere at the top, trying to make a quick buck. And have, that's happened,
Well, yeah, it has. And I think there's been a chief passport officer that went to jail previously before as well. Yeah. So there's that as well. But we can't take anything for granted. I can't swear on anybody but myself, right? But I could assure the public this, that the passport system is probably safer than most countries. The passport system is audit ready. The passport system is good, right? We have no issues there. These problems aren't just with us. At ICAO, you have other countries that express similar challenges as well, many of them really. And some of our challenges seem very slim in comparison, but they exist and we have to do our parts. We all cooperate with the police. We call them in when we need them to, and we turned over everything, right? And we wait their findings on every case. And the idea is to bring the perpetrators to the courts, have them charged, and weed them out of the system.
Right.
The system, the country. We just if we don't do that, that's when you should be alarmed.
Yeah.
If you're not seeing people cases being brought forth, that's when we really should be alarmed.
Well, we have over the last few weeks, whether it's immigration fraud documents or even especially passport, we've seen that happen over the last few weeks. Again, it's a hot topic. Bahamians are paying special attention to it based on a lot of things that's happening, particularly from the United States, and the fear of just anybody showing up at our doorstep saying, "Hey, I'm a Bahamian, I have this passport." And so you can imagine the concern there with so many people. Chief Passport Officer joining us here on Beyond the Headlines this evening, Nicholas Simonet. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. When we come back, we're going to get some feedback on what Mr. Simonet had to say, but also we're going to move forward and talk about that R.M. Bailey teacher that today was charged with indecent assault on a 15-year-old student of the school. More on Beyond the Headlines right after the break.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Who are the boss? for dancer.
International events and production, Alive, Bahamas Air, Everybody Wins Live, and Field of Vibes Bahamas Weekend presents
the Evolution Concert on Saturday, March 29th at Clifford Park, featuring Vibes Cartel and Friends.
Bahamas, Nassau, where you see Saturday the 29th of March.
It's one of the biggest events to hit the shores of Nassau, Bahamas.
Get ready for Addy the Teacher, the Dancehall King, aka the World Boss, Vibes Cartel.
Real bad man, no muggle in a shot.
Log into our official airline Bahamas Air for travel specials. It gets better. We're also giving away a brand new Cybertruck.
And up to $50,000 in cash and prizes at the concert. Compliments of Everybody Wins Live.
Log into our website, feelthevibesweekend.com.
For tickets, tables, skyboxes, and more info.
Visit Ticket Flare or email intlevents242@gmail.com.
WhatsApp or call 1242-808-2369.
I remember Cartel, I got it.
Hello, ambitious women. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? This is your chance to shine. I'm Adriana Fox, co-founder of the Fox Foundation.
And I'm Adriel Fox, legacy advocate of the Fox Foundation.
We're thrilled to announce the second annual Women's Entrepreneurship Episode Grants Initiative, created to empower and support women like you who are making waves in the business world.
This year, we're offering $75,000 in grants to female entrepreneurs with innovative business ideas in undersaturated markets and industries that have yet to reach their full potential. Our top 3 prizes are $25,000 for first place, $20,000 for second place, and $15,000 for third place. In addition, 7 runner-ups will receive $2,000.
We encourage businesses such as those in digital markets like web innovations, AI-driven service, niche e-commerce, or emerging industries such as green technologies, health tech, cultural tourism, and personalized educational platform. Whether you're launching a startup, scaling your business, or tackling that big idea that needs a financial boost, this grant is for you. Last year, we funded 10 incredible entrepreneurs, and this year, it could be you.
Imagine what you could achieve with the funding to grow your dreams.
Apply now and join a powerful community of women entrepreneurs leading the way. Applications are open from January 31st to February 28th. Don't wait. Visit our website for more information. This is your opportunity to break into a growing market and make an impact. Apply today and let's build a future of unstoppable women entrepreneurs together.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, but the Tourism Development Corporation helps develop and grow Bahamian businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what they say, boy? Oh yeah, develop and grow. You don't know what all the things they do? What does do? Hey, check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. I tell you during the break, Justin, you need to behave during the breaks. You understand? Let's do a live show and let's stay focused. Now, we're going to get into, obviously, more of this show in a minute because there's a whole lot to get to. But I'd like to bring in the Hot Topics panel right now to just give their thoughts on, we have not made it a secret. We have asked about these documents and we were extremely nervous. We're still nervous about the passport, the Bahamian passport, given the fact that, President Trump has already vowed in excess of 400 people that they will be deported. These are criminals. And we feel as though, man, half of them probably even ain't Bahamians, but they have the Bahamian passport. Yeah, absolutely. And so welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Leslie Mill and Ellington Ferguson. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
It's good to see, I interviewed, you all saw the Chief Passport Officer, Nicholas Simonet, a minute ago at the top of tonight's show. And he really, very, very sober, very obviously, I guess, assuring the Bahamian people that, listen, when it comes to the operations and the management and the stringent process in the passport office, you have nothing to worry about, sort of generally speaking. These things, other things, of course, have been identified and spotted. And as a result, obviously, they were handed over to the police and we saw them obviously charged. But I want you both to talk about just about what's going on in terms of how you feel about what he said, especially as we have discussed on this show quite a number of times, the potential to have the criminal element deported from the United States, many of whom will be carrying a Bahamian passport and as a result deported.
Well, Shanique, I think I feel pretty good listening to Mr. Simonet. I think he was very thorough. I've been able to develop a better understanding of what happens, what is happening there at the passport office. I'm sure that as the case is now that they have uncovered due to their investigation, they have uncovered some issues with some forged stuff. I'm sure that some of that has happened in the past, whereas it may have not been detected. And these people, in many cases, have traveled on to the U.S. or has been smuggled into the U.S. And so hopefully as the things unfold and they are deported back here, hopefully once they come here, we don't just turn them loose on the street. We go and we examine whatever documents they have to see how authentic they are. And it's never too late to deal with a situation. If we find out that they are a fraudulent document and they are not legitimate citizens of this country, then we will forward them from whence they came. But I feel very, very good in the process and the integrity of the process down there at the passport office. I think Mr. Nicholas Simonet and his team is doing a wonderful job. And I support what they're doing. And like he stated, it's an ongoing audit that they're doing, which is very, very good. And this is something that we must encourage. We must not try to use this. Let this stay out of the political fray. I know we're in that season, but let this stay out of the political fray. It's obvious that the system is working the way it should be to detect these level of fraud, which is not unique to the Bahamas, but it happens in every jurisdiction around the world of fraudulent documents. There are people that comes here bearing fraudulent documents. In a lot of cases, our immigration officers are able to detect them even at the port of entry before they can get in. And so this happens around the world. Kudos to the passport team down there.
I was very impressed by Mr. Simonet. Seems the man who's on top of things at the passport office. He's certainly aware of some of the fraudulent activities that takes place. I remember it was about more than 50 years ago when one of our colleagues, a young man, when I say colleagues who grew up with us, went to school, university, served some 12 years for one of the first passport frauds that was shattering. But there are so many people in our country that carries our passport now that is fraudulent, which they would have bought over the years. Passport, the normal fee for passport, I'm told, is $4,000. At least it used to be, but 20 years ago, I don't know what it is now. But it's amazing how many persons in our country have something that is so dear and near to us.
That's right.
That are Bahamian, and sometimes foreigners I can't say foreigners, but Bahamians who work there, of another nationality, that they would sell it our birthright. I think the law's got to be changed to come down hard on those persons, because it's very damning that someone can impersonate themselves as a Bahamian, which means that more likely they may have two passports. One Bahamian that was fraudulent on their own passport from their country.
Well, that is why I stressed to him, gentlemen, because we really want to know still, like, are there any passport officers who perhaps are complicit in assisting in making this happen? Of course, you heard him give assurance. Give assurance.
Shanique, I appreciate his comment. A lot of people, especially leaders of these different various departments, will go ahead and talk about the integrity of it, and they're good people and all of that. But he's been short of that. He said, I can swear for myself okay, which is fair. There, with the human element involved, there will possibly always be someone who is tempted to beat the system to make that quick buck. And so he spoke to it that he can swear for himself. And obviously, he mentioned the fact, like Leslie alluded to, of someone that was went to jail for it some years ago. If it is detected, let the chips fall where they may. And each employee down there at the passport office have got to do the same thing that Mr. Simonette do. Swear for yourself, walk in integrity, do your job well, and don't become a fall afoul of the law.
Let me take you back to incidents that happened in December, if you remember. Early December, when they caught some Haitian nationals who came in through Nassau International Airport with passports.
With passports.
Absolutely.
One of my cousins, Horace Lockhart, my first cousin, unfortunately he's passed. Someone had a passport in his name, Mr. Horace Lockhart. Okay? And there's a ring in Haiti, we are told, who duplicates our passports to the point where they can go to Nassau International Airport.
It's almost undetected.
And based on who is on at night, I mean, the fellas don't come on boats no more. They are bold enough to come on plane at our airports. So, you know, I'm so happy that similar to persons of his caliber are there trying to protect the interests of our country and our people. And I trust that this continues to be very, very vigilant, that no one has the right to defraud us as a people. Because that's, you know, and it bothers me that Bahamians would think of selling our birthright. Any Bahamian found doing that should get no less than 20, 30 years in prison. At least that.
Speaking to that, I mean, I understand the economics. But at the same time, while this is a country to our southern border that we have a major challenge with, to the point of a burden of those that come here fraudulently, illegally, and yet still we're expanding flight services where these people are manufacturing Bahamian passport, whether we have persons here involved, Bahamians involved, from our passport office or our immigration office. We don't know that, we cannot say that. But we have this problem of these people, number one, coming here illegally in droves, and now we're facilitating by aircraft, and they're still coming with illegal documents. And we got these flights saying because it's a lucrative market.
It's a lucrative market, and therefore our airlines will always want to service it. But again,
with fraudulent documents?
But that is why immigration, the passport office, the police, all of them have to be paying.
How much go undetected?
Well, maybe
thank God for a vigilant officer that detect that or that group. How much goes undetected? Does the flight go back full like it came? Well, we've had a case last year where some of them been here for months. They came in here legally, but they've been here for months up beyond their time.
Yes.
Maybe the people who are calling the shots to let those flights go there, just bringing back the family members. You ever thought of that? Consider that.
There's a lot to consider, I tell you that.
Consider that.
It's a lot to consider because identity theft is absolutely skyrocketing right now everywhere, and even right here in the Bahamas, and it's attempts every day to try and somehow defraud the system. But listen, gentlemen, a video circulating on social media shows a concerned customer at SuperValue capturing footage of what they claim is price manipulation on store items. The footage reportedly suggests that the employee was replacing older, lower prices with higher ones on existing stock, rather than updating the labels on newly acquired inventory. This has sparked widespread concerns among consumers about fair pricing practices.
Okay, this is the parking boy changing the prices on the merchant on the hot dog and stuff, and taking off the old price and putting on higher price. The government says that you leave the price was on it, and the new set you put the high price on. But that's not what Ruben Roberts is doing. He's changing the price on the old set and putting the new price on the new ones. That's a gangster law.
A higher price.
Is that the store policy? Well, anyway, let me just share this first. Eyewitness News reached out to the head of SuperValue, Rupert Roberts, who declined comment and referred us to the Consumer Protection Commission. In a statement, the Consumer Protection Commission responded, noting that their representatives held a meeting with SuperValue and its executives to address public concerns and clarify the situation. The executives of SuperValue confirmed that they had seen the video, condemned the actions of the employee, and assured the CPC that such an incident would not happen again. They explained that the issue arose from challenges related to price adjustments when new stock with updated prices is introduced, while older stock remains on the shelves. They acknowledged the problem and expressed their commitment to finding solutions to prevent similar issues in the future. Meanwhile, CPC officials emphasized that while price adjustments are not illegal when properly documented and transparent, changing price labels on existing stock to reflect new, higher prices is highly discouraged. The Commission recommended that the store either delay restocking with new inventory. That's what I think, because you can't just mix it and then expect this guy to. Is he trying to? Anyway, delay restocking with new inventory until the older stock is sold, or take them off and put the new set in, or implement a digital pricing system to ensure that the price at checkout counter matches the displayed price on the shelves. Gentlemen, this comes right on the heels of the government. You remember just last evening, I had Senator Barry Griffin, and the government rolled out its Affordable Bahamas program to address inflation and the cost of grocery and the cost of food, and well, really the cost of living generally. But this right here will absolutely be an answer to that. And SuperValue was responsible enough; it responded and made the clarification.
Unacceptable.
But it should not be. It should not be to the point. And how long has this been happening that nobody had a camera phone and went and took a video?
Shanique, this is completely unacceptable. And I'm going to start with from the Consumer Protection. They just spoke with them, and what they said, they accepted. SuperValue said what they said. They condemn the actions. And when I saw this on social media, I quoted, I spoke to it, and I said that the person that's doing this video should have not showed that employee's face. SuperValue statement that they condemn the employee's action. So the employee just walked to work that morning and say, I'm going to change these prices.
No.
That is absolutely unacceptable, and that is not an apology. I think SuperValue owe the Bahamian people an apology. That employee was directed to do what he was doing.
Exactly what he was
doing. And that is unfortunate, and I knew that this was going to happen. They was going to put it on the employee. It's SuperValue, it's not that employee. That employee goes to work and take instructions and do as he was told. That employee don't know that new stock came. New stock came in, you all know that your new stock came in, you all told them to change the prices. So to say you condemn the actions of the employee is hypocritical, it's not acceptable.
And that is why I asked, how long has this been going on, until that lady took out her phone and decided she's going to do a video?
It happens all the time, obviously. And I hate that. It's bad, the whole incident, but for you to come out and say you condemned the employee, that is terrible. Now you owe that employee an apology.
Let me say on behalf of Mr. Rupert Roberts, a man I've known past 50 years, on what he's done for us in local industry products from the time he started at the Development Council in 1983 and thereafter. All of the products, most of the successful businesses in this country that have those items that are carried in the stores were pushed mainly by Rupert Roberts and SuperValue for assisting us in getting our brand out there. I think it was a tragedy what took place. I agree with my buddy all the way that the person who made that statement really should not have made such a statement that is unfortunate if it was the employee. It was not the employee. We know that someone had to give those instructions.
That's right.
For the employee to do what they did. But at the same time, the tremendous contribution that SuperValue and Mr. Roberts and his team would have made on behalf of Bahamians everywhere, I think we need to give them a pass on this one. And I'm sure it won't happen again. But I have the greatest respect for Rupert Roberts and his.
But at least apologize to that employee, please.
Respect. And thank him for all that he's done for all of us.
Yeah.
Local manufacturing.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break to make some adjustments here. When we come back, we are going to talk about that R.M. Bailey teacher who appeared in court today, charged with indecent assault on a 15-year-old student. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're back after this.
At the Water and Sewage Corporation, safety and convenience are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
My name is Limburg Smith. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for both Oasis Fresh and Tropic Shipping. Oasis Fresh is a new fresh produce store located in Lyford Storage and Commerce Park, and we sell fresh produce, meats, dairy, and whole foods. We partner with EV because we also offer delivery services to our clients. We offer it to commercial clients and residential clients. And with the purchase of new carry vans, it helps us to deliver our products faster, more efficiently, and it's cost-saving to us. So we are very grateful for the partner with EV Motors in regards to our new fleet of vehicles. We used to spend about $220 per se per vehicle, having about 7 vehicles on the road for both our companies, Oasis Fresh and Tropics, which would cost us about $80,000 a year just on fuel. So you can imagine just how happy we are now with our new EV fleet. There was nothing better than a seamless process of getting new vehicles for our company to help us proceed and be more efficient in the way we operate our business.
Ultra Games turns 8, and it's your chance to participate in the Ultra Winning Experience. Here's how to win. Play with Ultra Games all month long, and with every 5 reward points earned, you will receive 1 electronic entry to win your share of $100,000 in our anniversary raffle drawing on March 1st. Also join us on the Infinity Store Tour in-store all month and enter to win $1,500 just for a $20 deposit at your favorite Ultra Games store. Kicking off at our Sea Grapes Plaza location February 14th. Visit ultragames.com or our socials for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Ultra Games, unleash your luck.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
We begin this segment with news from the courts. Late this afternoon, 45-year-old Franklin Donaldson was a teacher at the R.M. Bailey Senior High School, appeared before a magistrate in the magistrate's court. He is charged, police say he indecently assaulted a 15-year-old boy, also a student at the R.M. Bailey Senior High School on February 3rd. Donaldson denied the charge at the arraignment before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Boyd Evans. Donaldson was granted bail in the amount of $5,000 and is expected to return to court on March 20th for trial. This is a story, of course, Eyewitness News will continue to follow. Now, I want to get your response, gentlemen, given just what's been happening in the last week alone, as we looked at the father of those twins who molested those twins. But let's just go back here. Here's a teacher who has absolutely violated the trust that a teacher has in a classroom and in that setting with his students. He is accused of indecently assaulting a 15-year-old boy. And you see he's identified. Didn't we lobby for that just on Monday? Didn't we say, name these niggas? Didn't we say that? Ellington, your thoughts about this entire destruction of trust and then just beyond what took place allegedly on that campus?
Shanique, it would be most unfortunate if this pans out to be true.
Yeah, really.
It says that he denied it. I mean, seems to be that this is becoming more prevalent in our society. It's becoming more pronounced. People are almost more comfortable with doing these stuff. I hope that it pans out not to be so, whatever the situation is. But this is very unfortunate for our society. And we need to find out what path are we going down. What's up with this new trend of people that, almost week after week, that are engaging in these kind of behavior, and not only
depraved behavior, with minors, you know.
And so this is very disturbing. I'm very concerned about it. And
it goes back to the indoctrination that was seeping in just months ago, last year and before. There was this silent indoctrination on these campuses.
Well, recently it's more pronounced. It has been attempting to seep itself in our society for many years. Okay, I remember way back in the 90s, early 90s and 80s, late 80s, when these things were happening around the world, and these groups were trying to get more and more leverage in societies, and we began to see some of it coming in our society. It was on the cover, on the wrap, but today it's more pronounced, it's more bold, and it's more frequent in our communities. And so we need to kind of watch this. We need to pay close attention to this, and we need to have more, as we talk about, sentences for these kind of deviant behavior on our young children.
It is very unfortunate that a school teacher that has the responsibility of educating our young ones and training them up in the right way to make a contribution to themselves and by extension to our country find themselves in this awkward position of taking advantage of a young male student. It's difficult to comprehend what goes through the mind of such a teacher. That's one of the best professions anyone could hope to get into, to teach kids how to become men and women, how to make a contribution, how to earn a living, and to have those abuses taking place around us and in the government schools where some children are deprived of having those opportunities to advance themselves economically and educationally. I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you. It's probably not the first time it would have happened. This is probably the first person that decided to go and report it. What is the answer? How do you cope with a parent who sends their kids to school with the hope that their kid is going to go and have a good day at school, learn something new, come home and do their homework, and the child come home and say, well, I was molested by my teacher, male teacher, molest a male, young male student. It's atrocious. It should not have happened. And it is something we have to deal with in society. We have to do better as parents, as and the teachers. I just know what to say. I was a teacher myself at C.C. Sweeting, and I just don't get it. It's befuddling to me that these things are happening right in front of our eyes now. A teacher going to court for taking advantage of a young boy, 14 years old.
15.
What are we coming to as a society?
I agree.
What are we coming to?
I agree. But then, there's this light that's now infiltrating into incidents like that. And so therefore, again, this 45-year-old teacher charged today for indecent assault on a 15-year-old student. Not sure if it was one of his students, but certainly a student of the R.M. Bailey Senior High School. Again, we will continue to follow this. And you all know, the argument has been that the 5 years the father got for the twins is absolutely unacceptable. Prime Minister Davis says it should be life sentence. And we spoke.
And yet he was attacked this morning.
Who attacked for?
Well, the headline, one of the newspapers, not brave enough on marital rape law, but he already stated his case of what should have happened to the situation with the man and his two young children. And I didn't see the reason really for attacking him. This marital rape thing is something that's almost a societal norm thing, and I don't know how we're going to get to the bottom of it, that a man would be in charge for raping his wife. Most men can't comprehend that. And I'm baffled as to the women who are pushing this, stretching to me that my husband raped me last night. I mean, you're in the bed, you're in the home with your husband. How does that take place?
But if he rapes you, if you say no and he forces himself on you, isn't there, and they have a clause, there's a clause they want out. It says something about the law basically that defines rape in the Bahamas.
That's not in a marriage certificate.
It says anyone over the age of 14 who doesn't give consent outside of marriage, then that's
But is that
rape.
in a marriage certificate?
But I have never been married, so I don't know. When I get married, I'll let you know where it is.
I don't know what to say, to be honest with you. Maybe
it is something that our leaders need to pay attention to. But again, it's a very thin line, and it is not something that we should rush into without proper consideration, discussions, and give it some really serious thought as to the wording and how this legislation would possibly frame and to what level of marriage is this? I mean,
exactly.
What stage this marriage is in that I would actually go and take that position to go force myself on my wife? Where are we relationally? And maybe if we are at that stage, since we had to go to the state to register us as marriage, shouldn't we go to the state to say, well, this marriage is in trouble, I don't want to be bothered with this individual? Maybe we need to carefully look at these things.
And why continue to cohabitate with that person?
But even if you register a situation that we're living in separate rooms, I don't want to be bothered by this person, we're on the rocks, we may repair, we may not, then we could start looking at the marital rape part for me.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Well, it's something men certainly opposed to, but we will see exactly, men opposed to it, the women, some.
Most women are opposed to it. Many women are opposed to it.
No, they are. That's why I said
it's just this few.
Some are saying,
that's in between there.
Get that word out there.
This few that's in between that has their own things going. That really frightens me.
Yeah, no. It was all part of an agenda. It was all part of an agenda a minute ago. Now that Donald Trump is in office, let's see where that agenda goes. But listen, y'all, shots fired on a crowded jitney, leaving Eastern New Providence residents stunned as commuters and bystanders were caught in the middle of the chaos. What witnesses describe as a sudden and unhinged attack unfolded on a jitney yesterday morning, turning a routine ride into a Western movie. As authorities pieced together the details, Jose Etienne returned to the scene shortly after investigators cleared the area, and he fills us in.
And both of them were probably still driving tonight, right?
Of course, yesterday they were driving. Yeah, collecting.
Gunshots echoed through the Yamacraw community Tuesday morning after a heated dispute between two jitney drivers exploded into violence, leaving terrified passengers caught in the crossfire.
We heard like 3-4 shots going off, so of course that catch everybody's attention, and when we look up, I saw 2 buses in the road. One was crossed, the other one they cut him off.
An area resident speaking to Eyewitness News anonymously recounted the moments leading up to the confrontation just yards away from where he reportedly stood on Yamacraw Road.
The bus would cut off the first bus, straighten up, and drive towards us and turn into Elizabeth Estate. But while he was turning into Elizabeth Estate, like 2-3 schoolgirls jump off the bus while it actually was in motion, and then he almost rolled over them. So the surrounding people just started yelling at him to tell him hey, stop, you could roll over the 2 girls. So he come to a complete stop, and when he stopped, everybody else start running off the bus.
But his connection to the incident goes beyond just being a bystander. His relative was on one of the buses involved, witnessing the chaos unfold firsthand.
So what he's saying to me is earlier, must see when they was coming up passing the prison, the bus driver got into some argument and cut off each other. So I guess when they came up to this piece up here, he's saying that's when the bus that we saw cut off the next bus. They was having exchange of words. And then my uncle say, the one who was cut off was telling the other driver saying, come with the bus, come with the bus.
It was a split-second exchange that escalated into a brazen daylight shooting, leaving commuters scrambling for cover.
A passenger, I don't know, in the front, he said, had on some type of scarf. He said, just pull out this handgun and just point at the next bus and bust off a couple of shots.
For many, this is yet another case of reckless crime carried out by individuals with guns and no regard for public safety, all during the height of the morning rush.
The mentality of these fellas, like the shooter that next to it, with a bus full of people, I mean, I don't know what's beginning to these brothers' head.
The incident bears chilling similarities to a tragic shooting 3 years ago when a jitney driver was executed behind the wheel on Robinson Road, his bus still carrying school children to their destinations.
Just to hear your child call you and telling you, but there's on this bus, and the bus shooting at the next bus. I mean, everyone can afford to pick up, drop off, pay somebody, but I know it could be scary for people in them situations.
Police confirm that they are investigating reports of gunfire, but at this time, no injuries have been reported. Officials have yet to identify who was involved. Eyewitness News also reached out to union representatives for public transportation drivers, but they say they're still gathering information and are not ready to comment. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Ministry of Transport is saying about this evening. I've not seen any response since that report yesterday. I've not seen anything because certainly there should be some statement made to the public. The public for decades has been lobbying, calling, urging, asking, pleading that the public bus system be transformed, overhauled.
At least 30 years now. 30 years. It's so, again, you got to ask yourself, what kind of society are we living in, man? Young persons on those buses, kids going to and from school, going to work, minding their own business. And you have a bus driver with a gun? I mean, think of that, man. With a gun, and isn't afraid to use the gun that could endanger and take a life.
But then shooting to where into a boat,
into
shooting into a bus,
into a crowded bus. And I bet tonight he's still driving. I'll bet he's still driving tonight. Now the minister has to step to the plate, and the ministry has to step to the plate and road traffic. They must be removed off the streets, both of them. I don't care who started it, because it takes two to tangle. They got to revoke their license and get rid of them once and for all. This madness got to stop, man. That could have been an innocent little girl or boy dead tonight, dead last night, because of some foolishness between two guys who hustling as to who supposed to make the most money on Tuesday.
Shanique, this whole public service driving thing, buses, jitneys, taxis, limousines, tour buses, this industry needs to be cleaned up. Minister Jobert Colby needs to give this some serious attention. There's a number of issues across the board. Jitney driving is just one of them. I mean, all sectors. I've been in this business for some 34 years, and I've watched it disintegrate into what it is today. Where the men that are in these public service vehicles has no regard for authority. None whatsoever.
Oh, for human life.
You see daily fights and issues across the board. We
Really?
see
We need to
it down
spend-
at
we
the
need to
airport.
spend-
We
At
see
the
it
airport.
Of course,
We need
all
to
over
spend-
on
we
the
need to
door.
spend-
So tourists got to back on the side when there is fight.
while they
and
fight.
so we see it in the jitneys. We've got to fix this. We got to clean this thing.
Gotta put a stop to it, man.
This needs to be cleaned.
Gotta put a stop to it.
You know, Ellington, I want to have I want a dedicated segment to the public.
Mind if we spoke on that before? You forget it.
I will help you put that together.
Last year we spoke on that?
I will help you put that together.
We spoke about it.
It's needed. We need to clean it up. There's some time bombs waiting to happen.
Wow.
Well, I believe the minister's going to do what she has to do.
I believe
to
she's
protect
gonna
the public good.
But those two drivers should not
that.
drive again
No.
in the public service industry, be it bus, taxi, toll, whatever.
None.
They should
Zero.
never drive. Let's find
Zero.
them a job somewhere
Zero.
else. We've got to take care of them as Bahamians, but never in the public service driving.
I thank you very much, gentlemen. Of course, thanks very much to Nicholas Simonet, the Chief Passport Officer who opened the show with me this evening. And of course, to Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson, thank you both as well. I want to thank you for tuning in this evening and joining us here on the show. We certainly enjoyed having you along and look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.